and
Oddworld.
Hey oddballs, I'm your host Jensen, and welcome to episode 143. So this is definitely going to age me, but does anybody know that song or remember the song 143 I love you? Do you remember that song? If you do, you're as old as me, and that's okay. But that's definitely what's going through my head right now because it's episode 143, and yeah, I just had to share because I know someone out there will appreciate that. But let's go ahead and say happy birthday to you March 26th babies. I've got the birthday book in front of me and we are going to get to know you. So here we go.
Happy birthday.
To many who do not know them well, it appears that those born on March 26th are easygoing people who wish nothing more than a simple life. And this is, to some extent, the case. This does not mean they are intellectually or physically lazy. Quite the reverse. Just that they do not believe in making things unnecessarily difficult or complicated for themselves. Because they are inherently perceptive and quick-thinking people, they are blessed with the inviolable gifts of clarity of vision and purpose, having the capacity both to cut straight to the heart of the problem and to fix their sights firmly on a long-term target. This mental directness is furthermore complemented by their vigor, tenacity, and preference for taking positive action rather than endlessly prevaricating. Along with these personal qualities, those born on this day have the intuitive sense of right and wrong, and both their human empathy and high ethical standards suit them especially for public service careers. Hand in hand with their intellectual abilities also go marked qualities of sensuality and sensitivity, and hence these people often make talented artists, writers, musicians, or actors. When off duty, they will pursue their relationships, interests, and hobbies with their energy and enthusiasm that characterizes their approach to their work, and thus they make popular friends and much-loved family members. These people will often find themselves in great demand, but it is vital for their emotional equilibrium that they periodically withdraw from the company of others and find time to be themselves. Their virtues are straightforward, clear-sighted, practical. Their vices are stubborn, narrow-minded, and flexible. Happy birthday again, you March 26th babies. If this sounds like you or somebody you know, as always let me know, and let's go ahead and move on to stories.
This comes from an anonymous writer.
I never met my father-in-law. He passed away 5 years before I met my wife. If he were alive today, he would have 9 grandchildren, including my kids. However, he only got to meet 2 of them in his lifetime. There is a framed picture that my wife keeps on her nightstand next to her side of the bed of him dancing with her when she was 15 or 16. They are both looking at the camera, his head tilted back a little, with a larger-than-life smile. It's one of those pictures that brings a smile to your face, even if you do not know the person in it. There is a copy of that picture and many similar ones at my mother-in-law's house. They all have the same theme, him and his contagious smile. By all accounts, he was already the life of the party, would get people to dance, and be cheerful. He was also a devoted family man, and was thankful that he got to enjoy the time with his 2 granddaughters while battling the disease that eventually took him away. Fast forward 18 years. All of the grandkids are home, including the 2 oldest ones who now live away to attend college. We had a potluck at my mother-in-law's home, and my kids were just thrilled to see their older cousins. Although the age gap between the oldest kid and the youngest is 15 years, they still get along well, and the oldest ones are just sweethearts about playing and entertaining their younger relatives. At my eldest child's insistence, we invited all 9 kids for a sleepover at our house. We ordered pizza and set up a bunch of air mattresses and video games for the kids to enjoy in my daughter's bedroom. Of course, no adults were allowed. Just some background information. My house was built in 2014 on empty land, and it was rented out to a couple of families before us. So there's no weird history there. The layout of the house has 3 bedrooms upstairs. As soon as you come up from the stairs, there's the master bedroom to the right, and the 2 other bedrooms to the left. If the master bedroom door is open, you get a clear view of our bed as soon as you hit the upstairs landing. Likewise, if you are at my bed, you can see whomever is coming upstairs. That evening, after the kids shut themselves up in their pajama party, my wife was doing chores while I was watching TV from my bed. I normally close my door when I watch TV, as I am very conscious about my kids not being exposed to content inappropriate for their age. However, as my wife kept coming in and out of the bedroom, she just left the door open at some point. I am not sure about the exact time. It must have been 9 or 10 p.m. when I noticed something coming up the stairs. It was not a shadow. It was not a see-through figure. It was a person, with the sound of steps and everything. As soon as the person got to the landing, I could fully see him and realize that it was my father-in-law, my deceased father-in-law. He was not scary or disfigured like a zombie on TV. He looked exactly like the guy in the picture, and he had that smile, that disarming smile. Surprised, I have had my fair share of paranormal encounters. I just stared at him for a while, and then decided to greet him aloud. Hello, mister. How are you? Stupid question. He could have come back with a burn and replied, dead. He had that kind of humor, from what I've been told. I am fine, thank you. I'm here to visit the kids, he replied, in what I assume was his voice, since I've never met him or seen videos of him. Okay, I said. He just nodded and moved over towards the kids' bedroom. I did not hear anyone screaming in the bedroom, so I figured I was the only one who saw him. I paused the show and debated whether to tell my wife about what had just transpired. She gets really freaked out when these things happen to me, and she is still overly sensitive about her father. However, her supernatural ability is to see right through me, so she could tell something was up. I decided to tell her straight up what happened. She followed with an avalanche of questions, but she was quite calm about it. I told her what he looked like, what he was wearing, and his demeanor. I also told her we both had spoken aloud as far as I knew, and that I heard his voice. It had not been some sort of mental conversation. His lips even moved and everything. Tears began rolling, and as I comforted her, she began crying about her frustration of not being the one who had seen him, since she was his daughter after all. I had no reply for that, other than to share for the genuine feeling that I had got from him, that he loved them and watched over them. My wife calmed down a few minutes and then went to bed. She asked me not to say anything to the kids or the in-laws. I was ahead of her in that sentiment. We ended up telling them later, and they all shared stories about how they, at some point or another, felt his presence, but nothing with the certainty that I was relating. I was glad to have met him, and I believe that we would have gotten along very well. I caught a glimpse of the feeling that everyone who knew him shares about him, that he was a kind, warm, fun-loving person. I hope my children, his grandchildren, share those traits and values. And now I have tears rolling down my face. That is so sweet. And I kind of like the fact that this person is like, this isn't the only experience I've had, but wow, what an experience to have. And what an experience it is. I mean, seeing your father-in-law, whom you've never met, come up the stairs in a house that he's never been in, speak to you, saying, hey, I'm just here to see the kids. And you're like, cool. And then he just goes and sees the kids. It's just, it gives me chills, but in the best way. Now, I do feel really bad for this person's wife because I could get that frustration of not ever having that feeling with your father of like, hey, what the actual hell? Like, you're going to go and show yourself to my spouse, but you're not going to see me. But I'm kind of hoping that he came and visited her in a dream. Like, I hope that he visited her either just showing up in real life or visiting her in a dream. And maybe he's not visiting her because he's afraid to scare her. You know, I don't know, but this is a good one. This is a really good one. It's really, really sweet. And I mean, yeah, I don't really have a whole lot for this one. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next story.
This comes from an anonymous writer.
My nearly 2-year-old son has a friend named Mary. He doesn't have any new teachers or friends at school named Mary. And we don't know anyone by that name either. But the other day, he started to say Mary and spell her name using his foam bath letters. He does know how to spell his own name and his brother's name too. So the spelling thing isn't out of the ordinary, except for the fact that Mary is the only other name he knows how to spell. Mary hasn't been a bother until today. My older son fell down the stairs today, which has never happened before. He's usually very careful, but he fell and slid down head first, as if he was pushed. Right after that, a coffee cup full of fresh coffee fell off the counter and shattered, despite no one being around, and the coffee cup being away from the edge, so that no curious 2-year-old pulls it down. This was followed by my 2-year-old clapping and giggling and saying, Mary. I wasn't alarmed when my 2-year-old started with the Mary stuff until now. I'm kind of worried she's mean. It's mostly speculation that my older son was pushed down the stairs, and it's very possible he just tripped. I don't usually feed into this paranormal stuff, but it's also weird and started happening seemingly out of nowhere. We've never had a ghost issue in this house, but when we moved in, my husband was saying he felt a really weird feminine energy watching him at night. I just brushed it off, but maybe it's been Mary the whole time. I'm not sure what to make of all of it. I usually block myself off from spirituality and paranormal activity, but it's getting a little too tangible for comfort. Here's an update. I spoke with a couple of witches yesterday about the incident and ended up smudging our home with sage and Palo Santo. One of the witches made me a protection candle and gave me some steps to complete the banishment ritual. Today, my home feels clean and refreshed. I still need to finish burning the candle, and then I need to complete the ritual, and we will be done. The witch also offered to come cleanse our home if Mary isn't gone after the banishment spell is complete. But I'm feeling good, happy, and positive. Interestingly enough, this past week, we've been having issues at night, specifically around 3 a.m., where my 2-year-old has been waking up screaming and needing to come sleep in our bed. Last night was the first night he slept peacefully in a week. So, we have already seen immense change. I didn't connect the dots until I woke up this morning and realized he didn't cry all night. I'm looking forward to continuing some of the cleansing practices I learned from my witchy friends and family yesterday. I love this one. It's creepy. It's a very creepy. We don't like Mary. We liked Mary and then we didn't like Mary. Because it's okay if kids have spirits who are friends or friends who are spirits or whatever. But it's not okay when those friendly spirits aren't so friendly anymore and they're doing things that are just not okay. And I fully believe that their son was pushed down the stairs. But what I like about this one is that there is a continuation and they freaking cleansed with Palo Santo. I mean, they did it with sage too, but I've been saying Palo Santo all these years and this just confirms that you should be using that, but I guess you should be doing it in tandem with sage. So I don't know. I love how this person reached out to witches though, and then they were like, here, we got you. You just gotta burn this and do this ritual. That Mary bitch will be gone. Sorry. I shouldn't be calling Mary a bitch, but she's a bitch if she's doing mean things. I'm sorry. You get that title if you're doing mean things, right? I don't know. But I'm glad Mary seems to be gone because bye-bye, Mary. We don't want you. We don't want you. If you're going to be mean, you don't get to be around. That's just how it is. That's how it is in the spirit world. That's how it is in real life. If you're going to be mean, no. You're freaking done. We don't need any more meanies in this world, okay? We don't need any meanies in the afterlife either. Now I'm just going on a tangent. So, anyhow, I am curious to see what you guys think about this. If you have any comments or questions, let me know. Also, if you have a paranormal story like either story today, let me know. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And well, it's an odd world after all. Oddballs, thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to leave 5 stars or thumbs up on whatever podcast platform you listen on. If you have any comments for this episode, comment below or head over to Instagram and comment on this episode's preview. To submit a story or for more information, go to itsanoddworldafterall.com.